Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the official IBU press conference here in Hochfilzen. My name is Winkler, I'm the IBU Communications Director, and with me on the podium is the IBU President Olle Dahlin. It was very important for Olle to meet the press at his first stop in the World Cup as IBU President, in between a lot of side meetings, board meetings, and of course the races. Before we start, let me quickly talk about the procedure for this press conference. We will start with opening remarks by the IBU President, and after that you will have the chance to ask questions. We will go with one question each, and you will get the chance for second question when every journalist in the room had the chance to ask a question if there are any. Please make sure to be short and not go into statements, but rather ask precise questions, as time is precious this morning with two races coming up. Then, without much further ado, I hand it over to IBU President Olle Dahlin.
Thank you, Christian. I'm very happy to be here. I mean, this is an element I like, to be close to the sport. I've been in biathlon more or less my whole life, and I have hoped to be at the season opening, of course, but you know, due to this broken leg, I had to be home and look at you at television. But now I'm happy to be here, and I also now heard that the season opening was very excellent, and I heard from the IBU also that we have very high spectator figures. So we have an excellent platform for our sport, and that's the most important. It's now 3 months since the Congress in Porek, and then we started, we can say, a journey into the new era. You always have to improve, and we look forward now to a plan for the future. As I said in my manifesto there, it's so important now to make the strategy for the future. I mean, I have been in business my whole life, and a business plan, that's really the platform to develop from. So we have started the work now, and we have sent out to all stakeholders, and I'm sure you also have had this first survey now that we ask for input to our strategic plan. We will then summarize that, and then we will have workshops with all our stakeholders. So the week in Ruhpolding, we will have a couple of workshops during this week for media, with athletes, with national federations, all stakeholders, and then we will make a plan for the next coming 4+4 years, and then we go. That will be also a possibility to increase the market value of the IBU when we show how we now go for the future. This plan will be presented at an extraordinary congress late September next year. We have the same time schedule also now for a review of our constitution. We have a constitution that's more or less 25 years old with some smaller adjustments. So we will make a total review and a state of the art here. And what's so important here now, that is that we focus on the good governance. There is a lot of items now to settle, we can say, for the new constitution, how we will improve with good governance. For example, time limits at the executive board is one of the topics there. And that also then will be presented at this extraordinary congress late September. Then we have to clean the room, as I used to say. You are fully aware of that some bad things also have happened inside the IBU. And here it's so important now to gain the trust not at least from the athletes. And that we will work very careful with, and we have now established an external review commission independent of the IBU. They will work with the things that not the authorities are working with. I mean, the authorities, they are looking into how is there some breach of the laws. But then the IBU, we have our constitution, we have our rules. That's what now this external review commission are looking into. Then we have a couple of doping cases that's on the table, and that we have to handle in a proper way. We also have now the criteria for the Russian Biathlon Union to become full members, and there we now have established a follow-up working group of the criteria together with the Russian Biathlon Union, the RUSADA, and the Russian Olympic Committee. And the first meeting will be now next Tuesday in Moscow. We have also taken a lot of decision here. We will join the International Testing Agency, an independent testing agency working then with anti-doping issues. We have established an ethics commission, and we have done now the manning also of this commission. A whistleblower policy has been established, and so on. So we are now doing a lot of things now to increase good governance and the transparency. Then we have the daily business with our staff, and we have done some strengthening of our staff. You see one of the guys here. We have a new communication director, and we have also appointed a sport director to strengthen up the organization we have. And I'm sure now when we make this strategic plan, we also need to strengthen our organization to then achieve what we decide in our strategic plan. I think it's little short summary, let's say executive summary now, what we are doing for the future, cleaning the room, and what we now have doing in the daily business as well.
Thank you very much, Ole. Then now we hand it over to the media. If there are any questions, please state your name and the media outlet you're working for when you're handed the microphone for your question. Are there any questions? Over here. This is Artem Kuznetsov from TASS.
Yes, Mr. Dahlin, the Russian Biathlon Union asked the executive board to approve a transfer of Kristina Ilchenko from Belarus to Russia, and did you make it yesterday?
We have approved the applications now for national change that was on the table for the executive board. But what we also said now, that we will not take any more decisions about the transfer or exchange of nationality before the new constitution comes. We think the rules that we have had, they are not good enough around the change of nationality. So that will be a new constitution, as I said, in the autumn, that then will be valid before the next season.
Niels Carbon, German Television, ZDF. You just mentioned that you have a couple of doping cases on the table. Could you give us some more details on that, please?
Yeah, we have these now 4 cases that put forward to our anti-hearing doping panel. That would be already known. Yeah, they are there.
Further questions? This is not, oh, yeah. Please wait for the microphone. Please wait for the microphone and state your name and the media.
Alexander Kruglov, newspaper Soviet Sport. Mr. Dahlin, I want to ask you about what do you expect about the visit of working group in Moscow next week? What questions will be decided?
Yeah, to start with, if we go back to the meeting that I was taking part in now a couple of weeks in Moscow, we briefly then presented these 12 criteria. Now we can say the experts in this follow-up group will be at next meeting. So one, they will go carefully through all these criteria, and then two, they will see where Russia is now in these 12 criteria. So I look forward more to a situation report, I will say, about these 12 criteria in this first meeting. Then it will be meetings continually. We said at the beginning every second month we foresee that this group should meet. And of course you then ask, how fast will this take? And my answer there, that is, how fast is the homework done? So it's not possible actually to have a time schedule.
Further questions?
But, a comment I will say. We had a very constructive and good meeting in Moscow and a good atmosphere. And I think that's so important that we have this constructive discussion, because I mean it's so important now that Russia take care of this criteria and food system.
It's Carben from ZDF again.
Yeah. Mr. Dahlin, at what time do you expect some results of the new review commission?
I have asked them the same question, and they say they can't give any time schedule. They need the time that's needed to really go through these things in a proper way.
Ole, if I may add, as you know, we have laid out in the terms of reference with the External Review Commission that they will send interim reports from time to time. And
so we had the first interim report now to the executive board, and that will be published on our website. Full transparency here.
It's already uploaded, and you can download the first interim report at the anti-doping section on our homepage. Seeing no further questions? Thank you very much. This concludes our press conference.
Thank you.